As a concept artist, you need to not only drawing, but decide different problems. Every day you need to learn something new, and you don't know what you will need in the future. Humanity needs to study on their mistakes and see what will happen if you decide to do this. That will bring only evil and death and horror.
This is Marina Nechaeva, a Russian concept artist in Guangzhou. Concept art for her, as she told me, was about world building.
When you do this, you go to this imaginable world. You think, oh, I can draw this character and it will be this. I can think about his story or where he would go, about his adventures, and you just do this the whole day. And I don't know, this is so fun for me, to imagine the whole world, and then next day you will do another world, and it's so fun.
Sounds like making a movie, doesn't it? However, her family, her ancestors, lived through something no less movie-like, or perhaps, more accurately, something that inspired many artists followed. Marina's great-great-grandmother, Olga Ivanovna, had a legendary life. Born in 1896 in St. Petersburg, she lived through the First World War, the Russian Revolution, and later the fight against the Nazis during the Second World War. And for 872 days of her life, she bore witness to one of the longest and bloodiest battles in human history, the Siege of Leningrad between 1941 and 1944. Back then, Leningrad, present-day St. Petersburg, was by any measure of enormous strategic value. Situated on the Neva River near the Baltic Sea, the city housed over 3 million people, the home base of the Soviet Union's Baltic Fleet, and more than 600 factories that made Leningrad's industrial output second only to Moscow. In June 1941, when Adolf Hitler broke the non-aggression pact and attacked the Soviet Union, Leningrad was high on his target list. By September 8th, all but one of Leningrad's connections to the outside world were cut off by the German army. For nearly 900 days that followed, war was the city's only theme.
She was inside the city then, and it was surrounded from both sides, from north with Finland, and from south with Germans. And there was only one way to the city, through the lake, which was called the path of life, because that was the only way where you can have food or medical or weapons, only through the lake. The winters that time, they were really, really bad. It was so cold, and people, they didn't have enough fuel. So many people died in that siege, not only because of bombing or rockets, they died from hunger and cold. The whole wait was 900 days of surviving, trying to survive. And
Hitler's strategy was simple: starve the city to death. In the winter of 1941 to 1942, a starvation epidemic claimed 100,000 lives per month. Authorities arrested over 2,000 people for cannibalism.
Everyone has special cards, food cards. So when you show this card, you can have a piece of bread and something else. And that's why people started, after they started to eat bark, paper from walls, all house animals were eaten. Recently I talked to my family, and they told me one more story about that there were some old warehouses where they have food before, but then they were bombed, and there was melting sugar in the ground. My family, they went to those warehouses to have this melted sugar, and they put this in water and blend this so you have something sweet, for your body. So it was really hard. My great-great-grandfather got into hospital because he was too weak of hunger. So he got to the hospital and she was visited him every day. One day she went to visit him and she heard sirens in the city, so that meant that the air bomb started. She saw the policeman shouted, "Go to the shelter, go to the shelter." But then she thought, if I go to the shelter now, I will not be able to see my husband. And it was very important for her. So she decided to find some hiding near buildings. So she hid there, just in one building, and everyone, like the whole street, went to the shelter. And then she saw the strike, and the strike of the bomb was right in the shelter. So everyone on the street, they died. Like, she was the only survivor. Just, I think, the pure luck. She thought, I need to see my husband, and went to the other side. And yeah, it's such a horror, I think. It's so difficult to talk even about this, that they had to experience those times.
By choice or fate, Marina now lives in a city that was once under prolonged military aggression in the Second World War. From August 1937 to October 1938, Japan bombarded the city of Guangzhou. Betraying the Hague Convention, Japan targeted not only military structures and personnel, but civilians, especially the densely populated business district. This is what it looked like. Over these 14 months, more than 6,000 residents died, and nearly 8,000 were injured. More than 4,000 rooms were destroyed. This was written by Xia Yan, a renowned Chinese literary figure during that time. It recorded what the bombing was like on May 28, 1938.
The bombing was non-stop. It lasted all day. Citizens had no respite from it. It was utterly indiscriminate. Shops, homes, schools, kindergartens, hospitals. Even the Hospital Franco-Chinois Paul Doumer, which flew a French flag on its rooftop, was all targeted and bombed. Every few steps on Yonghan Road, Huiai Road, or the Bund in Wenhua District, there was either a heap of scorched earth and rubble or a row of shattered corpses crushed into pulp. Pieces of human flesh, children's skulls covered in furry hair and grayish-yellow brain matter were scattered on the road. Purple-blue intestines hung on walls, blasted away for dozens of steps, swinging in the wind. The bright red blood, baked under the sun, turned to dark, clotted chunks.
This is the Huanghua Road in Guangzhou's Yuexiu district. Back then, it used to be a village here. Between May 28th and June 9th in 1938, Japan deployed more than 340 aircrafts for a consecutive of 13 days in Guangzhou. It conducted bombing here. The village was nearly wiped out. More than 100 people died. There's a tablet erected nearby to commemorate those who died during that time. It says blood and tears shed in Huanghua on the tablet. It's located in an average residential neighborhood, reminding people of their forefathers' sacrifice. Every day, Guangzhou citizens pass it by or gather near it to relax or share the news of the day. The tablet might not be the center of every conversation, but it is an immovable object, a fixture in local lives.
Was that time, those 900 days, a part of the daily conversation, or people just don't talk about it?
As I know, like some people can talk, but usually no. Usually in my family, for example, they just don't talk that much. They usually say, wait, I will try not to talk about this, because I think it was such a horror that mainly they try to live like the life now and have this only as a memory. I think there might be the problem because maybe the history could be rewritten and you will start thinking about that maybe it wasn't that heroic, or maybe they were not right or something else. Just you start to forget about those stories, especially about like stories in your family, and you think, oh, they just did nothing, maybe I will forget about this. But I think it's quite important to remember and give those stories to other generation later, because it will teach you to be kind, to respect other cultures.
Do you think we can actually avoid it, or do you think it will eventually be repeated again?
It's hard to tell you. I personally hope we will have like peaceful life, with some fun and just like good things, but could happen like anytime, maybe in the future. So that's why you need to learn from those like, history moments, and like just be kind to other people around you. Just try to understand them. For example, like me, like Russian in China, that's absolutely another culture for me, but I'm trying to be kind, trying to study everything and trying to understand everything. So like no problems with people, and trying to understand why they behave like this or like that.
Drawing has been Marina's way into understanding other cultures. She told me that it's natural for her to take her sketchbook with her on the road, find a place of interest, sit for 30 to 40 minutes, and sketch out the view in front of her. As she continues her sketch on this particular corner of the Forbidden City, she told me that it's not a simple replication of what she saw. She tries to put a piece of herself into it. As she said, it's a process of learning, but also an emotional one. History is not a cold list of events of the past. Behind each of those events lie the lives and blood of the people who lived in that time. And they are not remote from today's world. Marina's choice of profession was inspired by her desire to create beauty and peace. The tablet that marked blood and sacrifice has become part of Guangzhou street view. They exist within every frame of today's world, shaping our decisions and reminding us that within every story lies the struggle of people, the legacy they have left behind, and the lessons that are to be learned by generations.